Someone's watching us through the cameras. Detective Morris's words made Sarah Thompson's blood run cold. Just hours ago, she had called 911 on her neighbor for suspicious behavior outside his house. Now, standing in his living room, staring at the computer screen, she realized her terrible mistake. But that wasn't even the worst part. The surveillance footage showed her own bedroom, her kitchen, her living room. And the person behind it all? The last person she ever expected. If you think you know who's watching, drop your guess in the comments below. It started 12 hours earlier. Sarah Thompson stood at her kitchen window, coffee cup frozen halfway to her lips. Her new neighbor was acting strange again. Alex Mitchell paced his driveway, phone in hand, fingers moving rapidly across the screen. Every few seconds, he'd glance around, checking if anyone was watching. Sarah had never trusted him, too quiet, too private, always on his devices. "What are you up to?" she muttered. Her security cameras had been glitching lately. The smart doorbell randomly turning off. Her Wi-Fi dropping signals. And now this suspicious behavior? Sarah grabbed her phone, scrolling through next-door posts. 3 neighbors reported similar tech issues this week. One mentioned missing footage from their security cameras. That's when she saw it, Alex's laptop screen glowing through his window, lines of code scrolling past. Her heart raced. Was he hacking the neighborhood? 911, what's your emergency? Sarah's voice trembled. I need to report suspicious activity. My neighbor? I think he's hacking into our security systems. Ma'am, do you have any evidence? He's standing outside right now, doing something on his phone. There's code on his computer. Our cameras are acting weird. Please, just send someone. 2 patrol cars arrived within minutes, lights off but sirens ready. Detective Morris and Officer Chen approached Alex's driveway, hands near their weapons. Sir, we've received a report. Let me guess, Alex cut in, his voice tired but steady. Suspicious activity? He held up his phone, showing his Wi-Fi settings. Someone's been stealing my internet. I'm changing my password. Detective Morris frowned, studying the screen. His expression shifted from suspicion to concern. Sir, could you show me those settings again? Alex handed over his phone. Morris's face darkened as he scrolled. Officer Chen, call cybercrimes. No. Sarah watched from her porch, confusion replacing her certainty. But as Detective Morris turned toward her house, his next words made her world spin. Ma'am, we need to check your nephew's room. Immediately. Drop a movie camera if you've ever worried about your security cameras being hacked. My nephew? Sarah's voice cracked. What does Brandon have to do with this? Detective Morris ignored her question, already heading toward her front door. How long has Brandon been living with you? 3 months. He's studying computer science at. Does he spend a lot of time in his room? Sarah blinked. Well, yes, but he's just gaming Anne. Ma'am, Officer Chen cut in gently, we've detected multiple unauthorized access attempts originating from your IP address. Alex stepped forward, his laptop open. Look at this. He turned the screen toward Morris. Someone's been running a sophisticated man-in-the-middle attack. They're intercepting security camera feeds from at least 6 houses in the neighborhood. Sarah's world tilted. That's impossible. Brandon would never. A crash from upstairs cut her off. Then footsteps. Running footsteps. Chen, back door. Morris sprinted up the stairs, drawing his weapon. But Brandon wasn't running. When they reached his room, he sat calmly at his desk, 3 monitors glowing with lines of code. Security camera feeds filled the screens, bedrooms, living rooms, backyards. Lives on display like some twisted reality show. Game over, Brandon said quietly, hands raised. Morris holstered his weapon. Brandon Foster, you want to explain what we're looking at? It started as a programming challenge. Brandon's voice was eerily calm. I wanted to see if I could do it. Create a ghost network that could intercept local traffic. Sarah pressed her hand against the doorframe, steadying herself. Why? Brandon, why would you? Because I could. His eyes never left the screens. Do you know how easy it was? How vulnerable everyone is. Their passwords, their cameras, their private moments. Alex appeared in the doorway, his expression hard. Those are people's lives you're violating. Brandon finally turned, a strange smile playing on his lips. Says the man my aunt thought was the hacker. The room fell silent. Sarah felt sick. Morris stepped forward. Stand up slowly. Brandon Foster, you're under arrest for unauthorized computer access, cyberstalking, and invasion of privacy. As Chen cuffed him, Brandon looked at his aunt. I was protecting us, he whispered. Watching for threats. Making sure we were safe. Safe? Sarah's voice shook. You were spying on innocent people. I called the police on an innocent man because of you. Brandon just smiled as they led him away. Alex watched from the hallway, his earlier words echoing, someone's watching us through the cameras. He'd been right. But the watcher wasn't some stranger in the shadows. The danger had been living right under Sarah's roof. Drop a locked if you've ever discovered someone wasn't who they claimed to be. The next few hours unfolded like a digital nightmare. In Brandon's room, the cybercrimes unit found more than just hacked cameras. Detective Morris stood at the center, directing his team through the digital maze Brandon had created. 6 terabytes of stored footage, a tech analyst announced, scrolling through files. Dating back 3 months, when he first moved in. Sarah sat on the living room couch, Alex awkwardly perched on an armchair across from her. The sound of police radios crackled through the house. We've identified 12 affected households, Officer Chen reported, consulting her tablet. All using the same type of smart home security systems. Alex leaned forward. He created a fake network that mimicked the neighborhood's Wi-Fi. When people's devices automatically connected. He had access to everything, Morris finished. Cameras, microphones, personal files. Sarah's hands trembled. What did he watch? The silence that followed was deafening. Mrs. Thompson, Morris spoke carefully, your nephew didn't just watch. He catalogued. Every conversation. Every private moment. He had facial recognition running, tracking people's routines. Alex's jaw tightened. The algorithm flagged unusual behavior patterns. That's why he knew when I was changing my Wi-Fi settings. His system alerted him. But why? Sarah's voice cracked. Why would he do this? A voice called from upstairs, Detective, you need to see this. On Brandon's main computer, they found a document. A manifesto of sorts. Project Guardian Angel, Morris read aloud. Protecting the neighborhood from itself. They don't understand. Someone needs to watch. Someone needs to know. Their secrets. Their lies. Their true faces. Sarah felt the room spin. Oh God. There's more, the tech analyst pointed to another folder. He was blackmailing 3 residents. Threatening to expose affairs, financial troubles, private conversations. Alex's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then stood abruptly. The neighborhood group chat is exploding. Someone leaked what happened. Outside, lights were coming on house by house. Neighbors emerging, gathering in small clusters, phones in hand. The night air hummed with shocked conversations. How much did he see? Were we on his cameras? What about our children? Morris turned to his team. Lock down all the evidence. No one sleeps until we've contacted every affected household. Sarah stared out her window at the gathering crowd. These were people she'd lived beside for years. People whose lives her nephew had invaded, catalogued, exploited. I should have known, she whispered. Alex, surprisingly, spoke up. How could you have? He was family. That's right, Morris added. Predators often hide in plain sight. They count on trust. A ping from the analyst's laptop drew their attention. Sir? The program, it's still running. Morris rushed over. What do you mean? These cameras, they're still being accessed. There's another system tapped in. Brandon, he wasn't working alone. The room went silent. Sarah's blood ran cold. Alex voiced what everyone was thinking, then who else is watching? Drop AIs if you think this story isn't over yet. What do you mean he wasn't working alone? Sarah's voice shook. Who else? A loud ping interrupted her. Every phone in the room lit up simultaneously. Mass text to the neighborhood group, Alex read aloud, his face paling. Enjoying the show? Your secrets are safe with us. For now. Morris grabbed his radio. I need all units to maintain perimeter security. Nobody leaves the block. The tech analyst's fingers flew across the keyboard. The signals bouncing between multiple locations. Whoever's doing this knows their stuff. Check Brandon's communications, Morris ordered. Emails, messages, anything. Sarah's phone pinged again. A private message. Remember when you told Brandon about Dad's inheritance? That private conversation in your kitchen? We heard everything. She dropped the phone like it was burning. How? That was months ago. Alex picked up her phone, studying the message. The numbers encrypted, but, he stopped, something clicking. Wait. The kitchen conversation. When exactly? 3 months ago, right after Brandon moved in. Sarah's eyes widened. The day he installed my new router. Morris snapped to attention. The router he gave you? He said it was a housewarming gift. Better security, he told me. Chen. Morris called. Get that router. Now. The analyst opened another window. Sir, I found something in Brandon's email. Communications with a group called the Watchers. Dating back 6 months. Before he moved here, Alex noted. The analyst continued reading. Phase 1 complete. Target neighborhood identified. Security systems mapped. They were planning this. Chen returned with the router. The tech team descended on it like surgeons. It's been modified, one announced. Custom firmware. It's not just a router, it's a command center. Morris leaned in. For what? The entire surveillance network. This thing's been coordinating with similar devices across the neighborhood. Brandon wasn't the mastermind. He was just their inside man. Sarah felt sick. You mean? The Watchers recruited him, Morris confirmed. Probably found him on dark web forums. They needed someone local, someone who could gain physical access. Alex's laptop chimed. They're in my system now. Looking at my files. The analyst shouted, multiple breaches. They're downloading everything. Morris grabbed his phone. This is Detective Morris. I need the entire cyber division. Now. And get me. The lights went out. Every screen went black. Then, one by one, they lit up again. The same message appeared on each. Trying to stop us? Cute. We are everywhere. We see everything. And now? So does everyone else. A link appeared. Don't click it, the analyst warned, but it was too late. Phones throughout the neighborhood exploded with notifications. A website had gone live, streaming feeds from every hacked camera in real time. Private moments. Secret conversations. Lives laid bare. Oh God, Sarah whispered. What have they done? Morris's face hardened. They've declared war. The screens flickered again. A new message. This is just the beginning. Every neighborhood has secrets. Every camera can be watched. You're next. Alex stood, his voice steady despite the chaos. No. This ends here. He opened his laptop, fingers flying across keys. I've been tracking their signal. They're good, but I'm better. You're a hacker? Sarah asked. Cybersecurity specialist, he corrected. The company I work for? We hunt people like this. Morris moved closer. Can you find them? Already am. Brandon wasn't careful enough. His emails left breadcrumbs. And the Watchers? They just made their first mistake. What mistake? Alex smiled grimly. They got cocky. Started streaming. And every stream has an origin point, the analyst finished, catching on. Exactly. They wanted to show off. Now watch this. His screen filled with code as he launched his counterattack. The war for privacy had begun. Drop a laptop computer if you're ready for the final showdown. Alex's fingers danced across the keyboard, a symphony of clicks filling the tense silence. Got you, he muttered. They're routing everything through a server farm in. The screens flickered. A message appeared. Clever boy. But not clever enough. They're trying to lock me out, Alex gritted his teeth. But they don't know. His screen erupted with code. Remember that ghost network they used? It works both ways. I'm in their system now. Morris leaned forward. What are you seeing? Names. Locations. The Watchers, they're not just here. They're in dozens of neighborhoods across the country. This is bigger than. The power went out again. But this time, Alex smiled. Perfect. They just triggered my trap. His laptop, running on battery, showed a loading bar. While they were busy showing off, I planted a trace. Every camera they accessed, every system they breached, it's all leading back to them. Sarah watched as coordinates appeared on his screen. Where is that? 3 blocks away. Morris was already on his radio. All units converge on 1542 Maple Street. Now. The raid happened in minutes. The Watchers' local hub, a basement operation run by 3 college students. Brandon's real recruiters. They thought they were untouchable, Morris said, watching them being led away in handcuffs. Playing gods with people's privacy. But it wasn't over. Alex's laptop pinged. The network, it's still active. These kids were just operators. The real Watchers are still out there. Morris nodded grimly. Then we'll find them. All of them. Sarah stood in her driveway, watching police cars fill the street. Neighbors emerged from their homes, drawn by the commotion. I'm sorry, she said to Alex. For suspecting you. He shook his head. You were half right. Someone was watching. Just not who you thought. 1 month later, Sarah stood before the neighborhood association, her voice steady and clear. We installed new security protocols, she announced. Real ones this time. But more importantly, we learned something. She looked at the faces around her, neighbors who had become friends through shared trauma. In trying to protect ourselves, we can't lose our humanity. Trust should be earned, not assumed. But suspicion without evidence? That's just another kind of prison. Alex, now the community's security consultant, nodded in agreement. The real protection, Sarah continued, comes from knowing your neighbors. Actually knowing them. Not through cameras or screens, but through genuine connection. The Watchers were still out there, somewhere. But this neighborhood? They were ready. Because sometimes the best security isn't a camera or a lock. It's a community that stands together. And that's the thing about suspicion and trust in our digital age, sometimes the real threat isn't the stranger next door, but the familiar face behind the screen. If this story made you think twice about digital privacy and quick judgments, hit that like button and subscribe for more eye-opening stories like this one. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message, because in today's connected world, we're all just one click away from being watched or being the watcher. Drop a magnifying glass tilted left in the comments if you've ever discovered that things weren't quite what they seemed, and tell us your story of judgment turned to understanding. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and we'll see you in the next video.